Hey, it's Maria, and today I'm going to show you something that is truly crazy about these AI systems. The way that it's built is that, as you know, probably already, we're using the terminal as the foundation of talking to our AI. But the file that is at the root of it is the ClaudeMD file, or the root file, as I call it. And the thing that really makes this way of using AI very different from using SaaS tools or using AI add-ons on other websites is that from this root file, using the terminal here, you will be able to make changes to every single thing that you've created. So whether it's your website, it's your course, it's slide decks, it's CRM, emails, content, whatever it is, you'll be able to make changes to all of these just by actually working in the same place and with the same file system. So I want to try and create a bit of a strategic change to my product. Here's the context. So this is essentially sharing the root file. It's the ClaudeMD of my 4 languages AI system. So now my Claude knows where to go and what to do. And now it's going to help me position and create this new thing that I'm calling the Claude Code Bootcamp. And I want to drop the price to 17 euros. And I want it to really think through it with me. So it's reading through some learnings from the past. These are things that I always save when I'm going through sessions. And let's see what we have here. So make it a bit smaller so it's easier to read. So what it did, it read my positioning, marketing, and ClaudeMD, and it needs to be straight with me. Both of these changes directly contradict your locked positioning from 8 days ago. Let me walk you through why. So what it's telling me essentially is that the name of the new product breaks all of my own rules. And these are the rules specifically. And it actually refers back to the decision document that we had when we were creating this strategy. So it goes through all of those things and essentially says that Claude Code Bootcamp repositions the entire product as tool training, which is everything we've actually done in the past to understand. And in here, we actually used a session transcript from Justin Welsh to go through the positioning and to really get to a good place, which is a really good example of how you can use outside resources. And I'm a part of Justin's paid community, and I use the materials that we have there to think through these things with my Claude. Then the second thing was that the pricing destroys my whole price anchoring. And again, it tells me how and why it comes to this conclusion. And then it tells me that something might be happening and I'm 18 days from launch. The impulse to make it cheaper and more recognizable is fear talking, not strategy. Again, this is actually foundational knowledge about me and something that it knows. Yeah, I actually love this. This is such a good example because it actually does push back when you've trained it well. It will help you stay aligned to your own vision. And what I like to say is that it helps you maintain your best version of yourself. So imagine I was having this bad day today. I really wanted to go and lower the pricing of my whole product. I wanted to scrap everything I've worked with. It helps me not do that. And it tells me exactly why not. So that's amazing. And then it's asking me what triggered this so we can actually talk through it. So let's actually answer. I wanted to find something that we could build for this demo. And what I would actually love to do instead, because obviously this makes no sense. I don't want to create a 17-euro Claude Code Bootcamp because those are already out there. And I'm sure anyone who wants to get those will find them. But what I really want to create is a free course version of the 4 languages course that we have, but from the business entrepreneurial work side of things. So the 4 languages at work course. And I want to use the same course structure that we have for the 4 languages course, which is also free. I want to create it inside the 4 languages course, but as a separate path. And when we're creating this on the sales pages and the login page of the website, I really want to have 2 separate courses for this. So the 4 languages and the 4 languages at work. So how does this sound? And as you can see, I just talked to it. I told it what I want to do. And then we start from there. And I love what it says. This is significantly better. It passes every decision filter you set up, stays on brand, and creates a natural funnel. So what we're doing now is we are essentially doing this. So I am talking and I'm adjusting the root files in my system, which will then feed into all of these different places: the course, the website, the dashboard if I want to, sales pages, guides, sequences. Everything in here is going to be fed from this conversation. And I'm going to be showing you exactly how that can manifest. This is the live version of the course. Yeah, it was already there. It actually already went there. It was faster than me. But sometimes it helps to guide it if you have things handy. Not because it can't find it, but it can just use less tokens if you're not giving it too much of a go through and find the right thing. So now we have a plan of sorts. So here's the strategic analysis. Genuinely a great idea, and here's why. Yeah, so as we know, the existing course is very life-oriented. And of course, work is a part of life, but it doesn't include work in the same way that I wanted to have at this other course. So what it gives me is the existing course, how it works in the work settings. So I'm having this strategic conversation with Claude, and it's going into all of my product documents. There's masses of information that it has about the framework of the 4 languages that we've created over time. And then it does an analysis of why this works. It gives me all of those reasons and the reasoning behind it, how it maps to my positioning, how it works with all of the other things that we have. And then it helps me create aligned CTAs. And then it gives me a proposal of how it wants to do it. So it would use the same type of URL with the separate pages for each of the 4, same template, same authentication flow, same design system. One thing to decide for the CTA. Yeah, we can go with A. So let's go with this. And then we'll actually start building this. And now it's checking that we have an alignment on content, same template, but the actual content of each module matters. I want you to use what you have. You should have documentation about the activities, and there should be a professional scan as well in your materials that you should be able to use. Also, you have a really clear understanding already what all of these languages are and how they manifest, especially in the AI system. So now you just think outside of the AI system and just work in general, obviously making sure that this facilitates and helps the types of professionals that we work with the most, which are entrepreneurs, coaches, and knowledge workers of different sorts. And the reason I can do this is because it has all of this information already. For 3+ years, I've been working on this framework. I have a lot of documents that refine very clearly what each one of the languages is, what it isn't, how it manifests in different ways, and all of that. So it has tons of information about how to do this. If you didn't have the kind of background information, either for the strategy or for the framework itself, obviously this wouldn't work as easily. So the work that you put in creating this system and making sure that it's accurate and represents the ideas and frameworks that you work with, the easier it becomes for you to actually build these things. Because for example, here, I think we're maybe four messages in. No, actually this counts as 1, 2. So we've gone through, I've only sent 3 messages before it's actually going to start building a full course page, sales pages, and everything related to this completely new offering that we created based on a strategic conversation that we had, where I suggested something. It noticed that it wasn't aligned with what I actually want to do. And we found a new concept to create instead. And now it's actually building it. So now we just wait. So in this case, we're using parallel agents. I tried it a few times, just using one, but it didn't work because the content is quite large. For creating a whole course based on the extensive materials that we have on the background. But yeah, so we're starting to build the agents here in parallel. Okay, so we have each one of the modules building on their own. So now it's just a matter of waiting. They're all working on the background as they all have a different language and module to create. So we have some of the pages getting done. The landing page is done. Mind is done. Let's see what we're missing. And then, so instead of having to open it myself, I will just get it opened by Claude. And it looks like we have the mind here, and it is using the exact same UI. So this is the course page. This is what it looks like. And from here, you can obviously see that this is a local file. So this is not online yet. So here, what I can do now is I can see what it's done. I can see what it's written. It's using the exact same UI and brand, everything exactly the way we should have it here. What I could do is I could read through everything and check what it's doing, check if there's anything I want to do. But this will go outside of this video. But yeah, it looks good. It looks exactly the same. It has the same structure. It has the same lessons within each of the languages it has in the other ones. It has the same formatting. You can go and continue to the next one, etc., etc. I think I already opened it. But yeah, I did already open it. Just didn't notice. So this is the home page, so to say. So the dashboard for this one. So mind at work, strategy, decisions, and clarity, connection, trust, motivation, energy, presence. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this looks correct. So everything is exactly as it should be. It's used the exact same format as the one that we have here. So this is the original one. Now, if we obviously wanted to separate these somehow, we could. But what I want to do next is finish this and make sure that we have these changes across all the pages in the website. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to we'll just wait for this to be built. One thing I want to note here is that this is a massive project to give because it has quite a lot to work with. It has the frameworks, it has the website, it has all of the functionalities, everything that it's working with at the same time. But the interesting thing is that I am not really participating in the process of building it outside of reviewing what it's doing, obviously reading through, making sure everything's aligned. And the option it gave me before was that I create the content with it. But for this demo, I obviously wanted to use the shorter track, which is to just create it with Claude. But yeah, so he has to compact the conversation because it's doing massive amounts of work building this website, creating all of the authentication, everything that you need to have for the course to have a dashboard. This is a free course, so it needs to check that the person has the right permissions. For example, for these two courses here, you need to actually have certain types of paid plans to access, whereas this one is going to be a free course. And what it's doing now is it's just continuing where we left off in the previous session. And it's going to carry on with the templates. It's going to do them parallel. And then it's going to update the logging dashboard, all of those things. And one thing that I don't know if it's going to do by itself, I am curious to see, is how it's going to add the course to this page. So the course dashboard. But I will leave it work here and see what it does. And then if needed, I'll just ask it to take count here. And there it is. While I update the logging and dashboard pages directly. But yeah, way ahead of me again. So now we are getting to the end of things. So we're finalizing some JavaScript because we have project tracking on the dashboard. As you can see here, you can see how much you've completed. So all of these need to be coded in. And now it is adding the card to the dashboard and the login. So both in here, this is the login page. So in here we have these cards to show the courses, and they have this kind of like preview page here. So these are the ones that it's going to be creating as well. But yeah, it's doing all the functionalities of the page. This is not a template in terms of a visual of the page. This is an actually functional page with tracking, backend, and everything working. And again, I don't really need to mind this. It has a good way of fixing itself. So taking count of the team members doing their work and stepping in when needed. All of these pages, for example, if you have your own course, you will have the templates to build this course in the template starter kit. So if you have a course, obviously it's not going to be about the 4 languages. Maybe it has a different UI. It doesn't really matter, but you will have all of these functionalities and logics in that file. So you'll be able to build yours very easily. So let's see what we have. We have everything working. We have modules. Everything is complete. The login and everything is going. So until now, these have been pages that are local on my computer. So what I want to say is just push to Hostinger and we'll see them live. And this is because I've installed a script that can push these directly to my Hostinger page. This is the only other subscription I pay for, Hostinger. And I only pay for Claude Code or Claude and Hostinger for hosting the websites, because anything and everything that is obviously online needs to be hosted somewhere. But yeah, I don't need to do anything here. It will just push it the way it does. It also has done all the structures around like login pages, resetting passwords, permissions, and all of that. Now we're starting to hit some limits here. This usually doesn't happen when you're not building this amount of depth. So we have done insane amount of work. So let's see what we have. So if we go to the 4 languages here, where we would have built this is in courses. So if we go to login, yeah, we can see it here. And now we actually do get to this page. Now there is something that we do need to do, which is, first of all, this page should be different. So where we entered was actually into this page. But what I will tell this one is, please make the 2 cards on the dashboard the same size as these, not 2 forward cards, one after another. Also, the preview page leads to the actual course when I would want it to have a separate, the same way as this one. And then I will show what I mean, which is this one. So as you noticed, you can share screenshots of examples. You can share the URLs of existing pages. So this can be from your own page, obviously, or your own system. Or let's imagine I wanted to use a style of another page. There was an element that I really liked. I could also share that and ask Claude to aim for that visual. But yeah, what I wanted to show here is that there is an insane amount of care that goes into building the structures and the folders and the files and the systems behind this. But when you have them, you are able to create full courses, which we did literally now with just a few tweaks in terms of the UI, like putting the cards next to each other instead of one after another. One loop, which also was slightly my fault because I actually used the same word for the preview page as I use for the course page. So that was on me. But from the conversation we had where we started and decided to work on this page, I gave it the context. I told it there are files that you can go and look from. It literally built the full course, the sales page. Now it's building the preview page. And this includes all of the backend. So tracking logic, progress, everything that you have in the courses page in there. And what you could always do as well, and this is going to be a separate video, is I could have people sign up for this specific course, for example, and then automate emails based on their progress on the course, all kinds of automations in terms of emails and reminders that you can do as well. So all of this lives in my system. That's just the one thing I really want to focus on here. And note that the image that I showed in the beginning, this one, I think we're here, is that we're working with this file, essentially. This is a system of files that knows exactly what my business is, what the 4 languages are, what my strategy is, what I want things to cost, what are my goals, etc., etc. And through these conversations that I have with Claude, it has now updated the course, it's updated the website. If I just ask it to place these in the pricing points or course pages or whatever, I can literally update that in one conversation. And the sequences, emails, I could create content based off this. Obviously, I could just ask like, hey, create a carousel post about the mind in business based on this course and guide people to there. And then I could automatically publish that using post-its. So everything is interconnected. And this is the thing that you don't get when you're using kind of SaaS or chat-based AIs that are not connected, is that you change one thing and that information feeds into every other thing. So making changes here is going to make it possible for all of the rest to be informed by the latest versions of anything that you've created. Here we have the new pages. Let's see if they're there and if they're working. And then it's time to call it a day with this demo. Let's see where we go. So we want to log in. We can log in from here on what we had. So if we log in here and we go to the new course, and this is the new one that we created, and we can start in the next ones. So we can go here. Again, it has actually laid in all of the information, all of the content for everything. And this is completely and fully pulled from other sources. So these actually look very accurate. These are from my previous workshops and different assessments, etc. So it's coming from files that I've created before. These are not coming out of nowhere. These are not something that Claude invented. It just used the material it had and turned it into this specific format that we have for the courses. But this kind of course pages you can create with this system. You will have access to the structure of this. You can create this exact course module and this exact way of managing the courses yourself. Obviously, you will just need to embed your own frameworks and your own materials, but that's the way you can use it. And you can also put any kind of like live events. This is where the sprint is going to be hosted. So you will be able to access and add all of the events to calendar, get support. You'll have the build sessions here, and you can add these to the calendar as well. So any kind of like small things that you might need to facilitate courses, any kind of cohorts, or this could also be something that you might even share with individual clients. So you could create a page that you only share with a specific client. That's also very possible. You can limit the permissions of specific pages based on what you want. So all of this is possible with the system. You will get access to it. You can use it. Just edit the content and the UI and the visuals, and you'll have a functioning course system on your end hosted by you. And honestly, just like one click away. And if you think about the other platforms for courses, they can be really steep in price. More often than not, they not only charge a monthly fee, but also they take a large percentage of anyone actually buying anything of yours. Whereas this one costs nothing. The only cost for this one is in my case, hosting your cost, which is I think less than €3 a month, because I'm hosting this myself. So yeah, just for you to think about. Obviously, for payments and stuff, like you still need to use some kind of a payment provider, Stripe or whatever it might be. But in my system, you have Stripe. You can integrate it here. Obviously, you can have Stripe automatically fire information to the emails, and the emails will go out. You'll create your own logins, etc., etc. So all of that is here in this system for you to use, modify, and adapt to your actual business. Any questions or anything that comes to mind, please feel free to ask. I am more than happy to answer any questions because I know that this can be quite a lot to see. But thank you, and I'll see you soon.